What's going on, everybody? I know I haven't posted anything in quite a while, but it's a beautiful day in America, and it just felt right. Today. First of all, it is election day, and so that's always fun. And major Republican is already lost. I'm, of course, talking about former Vice President Dick Cheney, who kicked the bucket yesterday. And as my as my brother-in-law cleverly put it, Dick Cheney just got voted off the planet. And to that I say, good. Rest in piss. I don't even want to turn on the mainstream media to see what they're going to say about him. I have some idea that they'll do revisionist history and talk about his great legacy and whatnot. But frankly, I don't want to put a hole in my TV, so I'll give you the short version of what Dick Cheney's actual legacy is, and what an evil piece of shit he is, and how the world is a better place without him. So Dick Cheney obviously was vice president under George W. Bush, and was one of, or is often referred to as, one of the most powerful vice presidents in American history. Which is really important to note because of the fact of what happened during the first Bush administration, or sorry, second Bush administration. So, as you know, September 11th happened, and that sort of sparked the whole global war on terror. But Cheney was really the architect of the Iraq war, which, I mean, some people will say the war in Afghanistan was justified. We had to get Osama bin Laden, whatever. There was literally zero justification for invading Iraq, aside from they had an endless propaganda campaign about how Saddam Hussein was a bad guy and he had weapons of mass destruction, and they're pointed at the United States and we had to take him out. Now, we're 22 years later. I guess that's right. Jesus, God, I'm old. And everybody now pretty much accepts that war was total bullshit. It was based on lies. It was illegal. It was offensive in nature. And Dick Cheney is responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians in Iraq and in other countries all over the world. But prior to that, Dick Cheney was what was he? He was Secretary of State, I believe, under George H.W. Bush, and I think he served in either Reagan or Ford's administration as well. So Dick Cheney has a long history of being a warmongering shithead. But importantly, whenever it was, I think he was Secretary of State under H.W. Bush. But whatever it was, it's funny because, you justify going to war with Iraq, a country that didn't attack us, based on the lie that they have weapons of mass destruction, which they were going to use against the United States. But the only reason, if you do believe that Iraq would have weapons of mass destruction is because the United States gave him chemical weapons to go to war with Iran, which Cheney would have been a part of the administration that approved that. So anyway, like I said, Dick Cheney was a mass murderer. He was a ridiculously corrupt politician as well. No, it did not start under Donald Trump. Cheney, right before he became vice president, was the chairman and CEO of Halliburton. And Halliburton, defense contractor, oil company, whatever. Halliburton, after the invasion of Iraq, were granted all kinds of no-bid contracts which means that the United States government, after, Cheney left Halliburton, then rewarded Halliburton with all kinds of money in the form of contracts from the U.S. government to rape and pillage the country of Iraq. I'm honestly kind of surprised that Cheney lasted as long as he did. He should have died a long time ago. Cheney had something like 12 heart attacks, or it's some ridiculous number. It might not be 12, but he had some ridiculous number of heart attacks. And so, unfortunately, the thing that usually happens with evil people is that they live forever. So I'm not holding my breath on Trump, on Cankles McTaco Tits, as the women over at I Had It have appropriately nicknamed him. But evil people tend to last forever. Henry Kissinger is another one who comes to mind. Kissinger was served under Nixon, and I think he lived to be 100 or 101, and he was an evil, rotten piece of shit as well. Anyway, enough with Dick Cheney. The world's a better place without him. Rest in piss, and don't believe any of the revisionist history if anybody tries to tell you about what a great vice president he was, or what a great public servant he was. He was none of those things. He was a scourge. He was a mass murderer. He oversaw an illegal and offensive war against a country that did not attack us. And he's one of the reasons why we have Trump. I'll just put it that way. Republicans of 20 years ago, in no uncertain terms, gave way to people like Donald Trump. In other news, it's election day. I'm pretty optimistic. There's a bunch of elections going on. Zoran Mamdani in New York looks like he's pretty much a guarantee. I don't want to say anything is a guarantee, but he's running for mayor of New York. Andrew Cuomo is the only Democrat, I guess, who's running against him. And Cuomo has now been endorsed by Trump, as if that's a reason why anyone who would have voted Democrat would not vote for Zoran Mamdani. And then, of course, you've got, what's his name? Sliwa? I think it's Curtis Sliwa is the Republican. And so, you've got two candidates that are going to split the anti-Mamdani vote. And Mamdani is historically popular, and he won the primary by double digits. He won by a landslide. So he looks to be a shoo-in. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of other really important races. I think the governor's race in Virginia is going on today, and I think it's going to be Abigail Spanberger, and I can't remember who her opponent is. Got another one in New Jersey. It's Mikey Sherrill is the Democratic nominee, and I can't remember who she's running against. Forget his name. Anyway, you've got some important races going on, and I'm not going to spike the football beforehand. I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic for a number of reasons. The main one being that Trump under the Republicans, or the Republicans under Trump, as I should say, is historically unpopular at this point. Massively underwater, record low polling. And at the same time that they're doing elections, the government is shut down. And despite all of the, narrative spinning and how the Democrats are at fault for shutting down the government, it's you guys, the Republicans, control the House, control the Senate, control the presidency, and not that it matters in this particular situation, but they control the Supreme Court as well. They control literally every lever of power. They control every branch of government. But they're trying to blame the Democrats for a shutdown. And I think that it's so easy to roll these guys. I mean, like, I wish the Democrats were better at messaging, but like, if I were running for a political office right now, I would be saying, listen, the government is shut down because the Republicans do not want, well, their reason is they don't want to give healthcare to illegal immigrants. Now, for one thing, that's not happening. Like, that's just not a thing. Illegal immigrants don't get healthcare anyway. But let's just be super charitable and we'll say, okay, let's say that is happening. And so their response to that is to deprive food and healthcare to millions of actual Americans in order to make sure that the immigrants don't get it. So they would deprive their own constituents of healthcare. They would deprive their own constituents of food stamps, SNAP benefits, all of this, to make sure that the illegal immigrants don't get it. I mean, like, no matter which way you slice it, they don't look good. But the real reason that the government is shut down has nothing to do with healthcare. I mean, the Republicans have been trying to demolish Obamacare for a really long time. And what's even funnier is that the ACA is a right-wing healthcare plan that was thought up by the Heritage Foundation, and it was implemented by Mitt Romney. But nevertheless, they will vote against their own healthcare plan because it was proposed and signed into law by persona non grata amongst the GOP, Barack Obama. And so they're trying to basically like get rid of the ACA subsidies. And Obamacare, ACA, whatever, it's not great. It did extend healthcare to millions of Americans who otherwise would not have had coverage. And it got rid of the insurance company's ability to deny care based on pre-existing conditions. And it allowed you to stay on your parents' healthcare plan until you were 26. There were some really good things about the ACA, but the main bad thing is that it's not universal and it cut in private insurance. So a lot of people didn't like it because of the individual mandate, which is that you have to buy in to it, and it's not a universal program that everyone gets. Then it's always going to fall short of ideal. Anyway, don't want to talk about that anymore. Back to Republicans and why the government is shut down. They're saying it's over healthcare for illegal aliens. Anybody with two brain cells to rub together knows that this is about the Epstein files, and also, you know, they view this as a way to further gut government programs that the Republicans have deemed, you know, democratic programs or whatever. But it's like, it hurts everyone. And let's not forget that no matter who's in power, any government shutdown that happens is 100% optional. Like, it's totally voluntary. It's not necessary, right? These guys know every single year they have to pass a budget. These guys know they have a deadline. They absolutely are using people as a political pawns in order to try and shoehorn in whatever stupid fuck policy they want and then pit it against the other side to blame them. So in this case, it's Republicans pitting, people's livelihood, their health care benefits, their SNAP benefits, whatever, against Democrats. But again, we cannot forget that they control every branch of government right now. So, total bullshit. This is really about the Epstein files. And the fact of the matter is that there is a Democratic congresswoman who won her election in Arizona. Her name is Adelita Grijalva. She's been waiting almost as long as the government shutdown, I think. It's been over a month to be sworn in by MAGA Mike Johnson, Moses MAGA Mike Johnson. And He's saying he's following the Pelosi precedent. That's not the case. He's saying that it's because Congress isn't in session. He absolutely can swear her in whenever he wants. He did it during pro forma for Republican congressmen. The quote-unquote Pelosi precedent was actually a couple of Republicans who requested to be sworn in on a certain date so that their families could be there. It wasn't because Pelosi was holding out on them. So that's just not a thing. Again, it's another Republican lie. Who's surprised that the Republicans are lying? But she would provide the necessary 218th vote that would trigger a floor vote on the release of the Epstein files. And I think that, like I said, this is obvious to anyone with two brain cells to rub together. The Republicans do not want this out. And it's also worth noting that, Mike Johnson could hold a floor vote on this at any time. He doesn't. He swears up and down that they want everything to get out. They don't. Trump is all over the files. Everybody knows that. They really, really, really don't want the details of that getting out because it's probably not just Trump. There are probably a number of other very, very, very powerful people who are all over the Epstein files that they don't want people to know about, likely Republican donors and other Republican politicians. But yeah, I'm optimistic because it's election day. One of the worst people who ever held power in this country kicked the bucket. Again, rest in peace to Cheney. The other part of my optimism is that the Republicans right now are historically unpopular. Everything they're doing is very, very, very bad for the country. Rounding up innocent people, throwing them in concentration camps, taking away SNAP benefits from millions of Americans, shutting down the government to try and ensure that everyone's healthcare premiums go up, and blaming it on illegal immigrants. And then also you have obviously the illegal bombings of Venezuelan fishing boats in the Caribbean, and they're saying that that's about drugs. Like everything that, literally everything the Republicans are doing. Oh, and I forgot the Halloween party, the Gatsby Halloween party. Like at the same time that, people are going hungry and health insurance premiums are going to go through the roof and all of this other bad shit that's happening. You've got a massive number of jobless claims. They're shutting down the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They don't want that information to get out. The economy is contracting. All of this stuff, right? People are hurting. Food prices are going through the roof. Inflation's going through the roof. We have stagflation. And they're throwing a Great Gatsby style party for Trump, and he's building a ballroom for himself, and he's redoing bathrooms at the White House for himself. I mean, like, to say I'm surprised, I'm not at all. Like, he's always been a massive piece of shit. He's always been, like, just massively out of touch, aside from that he touched on a nerve with Americans in 2016 about, like policies that ship their jobs overseas and illegal immigrants and whatnot. Like, he touched a nerve with, the GOP base. But, yeah, I think that everything that they've done so far this year has been massively unpopular. It's been massively destructive to the country. And I think that they will reap what they sow at the ballot box if we have free and fair elections. So anyway, look forward to seeing the outcome of that. And I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. And I'll see you next time.